Nigeria's new electricity tariff that was announced this first week of April is no April Fool's joke. Though not all customers will be immediately affected, well, the government says that its decision is vital for the development and the sustainability of all stakeholders in the electricity value chain. Babajide Ogunsanwo, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst, is here to share more insight on this news. I'll call it a news. And
yes, it is. And it's clearly no April Fool's joke, as you said it.
Welcome to the news at 10. Are there hidden details or any fact that we do not know about this electricity tariff?
And it depends on what perspective. But what we should start off with is to know that if the vote of a rich man is equal to the vote of a poor man, why should a rich man have electricity more available to him than the poor man? Let's think about that for a moment. But in all, Anne, there are three questions Nigerians are asking. Question one, what does the electricity tariff bans really mean? Question two, is electricity subsidy bad? Question three, what should the government do? So I'd like to take those three questions. The first question is, what does the electricity tariff ban really mean? And there are different ways to look at it. One way is to understand that what the government is saying is that there are some people that are enjoying what can be called designer electricity. Your electricity is Gucci electricity, Louis Vuitton electricity, Fendi electricity. And there are some at the lower cadre that their electricity, in simple terms, is classified as pit latrine electricity. That's one perspective. But another perspective is to understand that what the government has done in social psychology terms is called social stratification. And social stratification in this context, in simple terms, is marginalization based on location and discrimination based on income. Is that the sort of society we want to evolve to? Now, to the second question, which is electricity subsidy bad? Simple terms, no. And that's because electricity subsidy globally, especially for an undeveloped country like Nigeria, assists families to have more disposable income that they can use to spend on healthcare, drugs, send their children to school, education, and also buy some food. Now to the third question, what should the government do? And the answer is clearly in the Constitution. If we take a look at that, Section 16, subsection 1B, very clear. It states that in controlling the national economy, the government needs to emphasize the basis of social justice and equality of status and opportunity. Emphasis on equality of status and opportunity. In simple terms, everybody should enjoy the same level of electricity, irrespective of your status.
But Babajide, when you look at data and all the facts you have, how much progress has been made into metering households across the country?
And you know, I usually talk about the good news and bad news. When it comes to metering, the fact shows it is all bad news. And I'll explain what I mean. This year, 2024, will be a decade past a century since Nigeria has been the amalgamation of Nigeria happened. If we look at the numbers from the Bureau of Statistics, there are 44 million households in Nigeria. And if we take a look at the numbers that were presented by the regulator recently, it shows that, yes, Nigeria has 44 million households. However, only 5 million of these households have meters. And in simple terms, on an average, for every 9 families living in Nigeria, only 1 family has a meter. This is 11 decades after Nigeria has come together. For every 9 families, only 1 has a meter. Bad news. Second bad news is, as we're having this conversation, Nigeria still has more customers receiving estimated bills than customers who have meters. If we continue to grow at the rate which we are growing, looking at metered customers, even as at the next 4 years, we are not likely to have up to 10 million families with meters. That is the challenge.
And now, which locations are most likely to be affected by this new electricity tariff?
Yeah, so the government says it will be structured. Yes, for those that are, their lights, electricity are classified as the Gucci, LV, and Fendi. Yes, they are currently going to be the ones that will be first affected. But at the end of the day, it will touch everyone. And so we can take a look at the Bureau of Statistics report that allows us to know which locations do families on an average spend more money on fuel and light, because it then allows us to know which regions will feel more of the pain. And that information is right in front of us. The NBS clearly shows that these are the top 15 countries where families on rent, on fuel and light spend more than 5% of their expenses on that. But what you will notice here is that all the states in the Southwest fall within this top 15. And you also have 11 states in southern Nigeria within this top 15. So the summary is, while all regions and all families will eventually feel the pain, most of this pain will be felt in southern Nigeria, especially in southwest Nigeria.
So with all the reactions trailing this, what should the government be doing next now?
And there are three things I think the government should do. The first is, and I would like you to listen carefully to this, that I'm a Nigerian living in an urban city in Lagos does not make me more Nigerian than the person who lives in Maiduguri in a rural village. And so I shouldn't qualify to receive any preferential treatment, number one. The second thing that the government needs to do is remember its promise. And I'd like us to take a look at the candidate Bola Tinubu's promise in his Renewed Hope Manifesto. That is the second thing the government needs to do. In the Renewed Hope Manifesto, he talked about affordable electricity, emphasis on affordable electricity. So this was when he was candidate Tinubu. Now he's President Tinubu. He needs to pick up his manifesto and decide, will electricity still be affordable? And Anne, to the third and final and perhaps the most important point, the president needs to understand that a tariff hike will lead to a frustration hike. And a frustration hike will lead to a hike in the stakes for the 2027 elections. Anne.
All right, Babajide Ogunso, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts on the news at 10. And I think my tariff now is like Louis Vuitton, so.
Oh, definitely. You're probably on the Gucci tariff.